from the time that I was a really, really young kid, I was very dependent on my friends for just emotional support.
One thing that I kind of do completely agree is that it's another level of patience that you need to have as a director. A lot of being a director is about managing people.
We've gone from a time where it was a select family, few people, because it was. I mean, it was more of a cottage industry at one point if you think about it. I mean, it's not really up to me as a filmmaker to have any kind of censorship on myself.
But audiences also can't let all the onus be on the makers, saying that इन्होंने ऐसा दिखाया तो अब मैं ऐसे ही करूँगा.
If a film is not patronized by a large number of people, that kind of film will stop being made.
Hi, welcome to the Quint, and thank you for talking to me.
Thank you.
When it comes to films that have based on, say, relationships, especially friendships, and I believe that all films, they're very much drawn from our own life experiences and people that we've probably are surrounded by. So the films that you've directed, and for you this one, is there an incident or a relationship that we can see a semblance to?
Excel being synonymous with friendship films.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's happened. I mean, it's not a conscious thing, to be honest.
Yeah.
For me, the relationship, like the friendship equation, has been a very massive part of my life.
Right.
From the time that I was a really, really young kid, I was very dependent on my friends for just emotional support.
Yeah.
They played a massive role in my life.
Right.
And I think maybe that's why I'm like drawn to those scripts. I mean, still the script has to be written well and has to have something new and unique in it. But I am drawn to it. There's no denying that.
Kunal, what about you?
It's interesting that you were saying that. I just realized that I love friendship films, and especially the films that they made, because they were about lifelong friendship. I always miss that. I've never had very thick friends, because I also kind of kept moving from here to there, right? Like even like from Srinagar to here, and then I grew up in Meera Road, so my school friends were different. Then I went to college in Parla in NM, so my friends there were very different that I did theatre with. Then I became an actor and I started living in Warsaw, so I had very limited friends. So I think for me, these films were kind of an escape out of my world, and I was like, oh, this is what friendship is. And it so happens that's why in my film, they're not friends who've been friends throughout their life. They were friends who were friends when they were kids, and then they kind of parted ways, and now they've kind of come back together.
So that you drew from your own life experience.
Yeah.
Farhan, taking from what he said, did you ever kind of, when you were doing these films, did you ever think you were actually maybe shaping or influencing an entire generation?
No. I was just trying to achieve my day. That's all I was doing. Honestly, you don't think about this.
Yeah.
You want to just make the best possible film that you can, given what has been provided to you to be able to do it. Again, just really, really fortunate that I got really good actors to work on my first film. Everything that you imagined on a page to be brought to life, I mean, they took it to another place with their performances. So I'm just very fortunate. And then, I mean, we've been influenced. Like I speak to my dad, sometimes, and I ask him like, did you know when you were doing Sholay, like it would be it's a cultural touchstone.
Absolutely.
I mean, the fact that you still have characters from that film used in advertising today.
Yeah.
So he was like, we had no clue. He's like, when people come and say, sir, wo dialogue, holi kabe holi kabe. He's like, kitne aadmi the? He's like, we just wrote, he's asking us, kitne aadmi? It's become like such a hua. Sir,
kya line
kitne aadmi? Salim uncle also says, like, we had no idea where to You don't. You're just writing something that you think will be effective in that scene and in that moment. But how people take to it is there is no way of predicting that.
Right.
People say to me about the cake khane ke liye hum kahin bhi ja sakte hain line. Like many people have their birthday. I'm there. They look at me like, cake khane ke liye kahin bhi. Like, what was it about that line? You know what I'm saying?
Kunal, as a director, what are the 3 things that you were oblivious to as an actor that you realized on sets?
I don't think I was oblivious to them. I just had to experience them.
Yeah.
But one thing that I kind of do completely agree is that it's another level of patience that you need to have as a director. A lot of being a director is about managing people, because that's what you're doing. You're kind of trying to tell your story and portray your vision with the help of artists who are not just actors, but artists as in like even your DOP, your set designer, your costume designer, because they're all going to come together to make this kind of work. And I've kind of discovered another side to myself as a person being on a set like that.
That's what I found very challenging when I became an actor, actually. The amount of patience you need to be an actor.
Yeah, because passive. You can't
Because
do
when I
anything.
was directing, I was constantly doing something.
The
Suddenly, you know,
restlessness.
when the thing is that you're sitting on a chair and you're watching everybody else work. You're like, yaar, main kar kya raha hu idhar? It was a very strange feeling. And how weird, like, because for you, you've gone the other way.
Right.
You know, you were acting for the longest time and now you've directed.
Yeah.
I started directing and I went to acting.
Yeah. Farhan, you're someone, and Excel is someone, in fact, who's always backing new talent, right? How important do you think it is for our industry today to kind of have such diverse voices?
Oh, it's important for every art form to have diverse voices. The more stories that we can get of people coming in with different backgrounds of life or different experiences in life, it's how a healthy industry should function. That's how I see it.
Right.
You know, I mean, we've gone from a time where it was a select family, few people, because it was. I mean, it was more of a cottage industry at one point, if you think about it.
Absolutely.
You know, and with time, with also technology changing, you know, I mean, the access to technology now that young people have, we didn't have that. You had to get a producer who would give you a film camera to go and shoot a film. There was no phone or there was no digital camera that you could shoot with. Now you have the ability to do that. You know what I mean? So if you have a story, you can actually go out and you can make a film. You can make a 10-minute film or an 11-minute film, but it's possible to do it.
Yeah.
So the talent that we see emerging now, you know, it's absolutely incredible, and it's good for our film industry.
Yeah.
Stories coming in from different parts of the country that were inaccessible to us because our life experiences never took us there.
Considering the times that we live in today, you know, where the landscapes are ever changing, you know, sometimes there are films that will do well. Like you said, you never know who takes to what they find relatable. But we also live in a time that anybody can be very sensitive about something that is said or spoken, right? As a creator, now that even you're a director, do you think what is it that the industry could probably change so the voices are not as censored as they are today?
You know, I personally feel that as filmmakers and as film producers, there is an understanding that we've reached a long time ago. You know, that we are responsible and answerable on some level to the certification board of this country. Beyond that, you know, I mean, it's not really up to me as a filmmaker to have any kind of censorship on myself. And that's how I see it. You know, beyond that, it's I mean, anyone can get offended about anything. You know, so I mean, where do you stop? I make films that I want to make, and I'll continue to make those films.
You know, recently this entire conversation about the influence that the society has on films and the influence films have in society, right? So when we see a film that's on screen that's probably slightly regressive, that people think might set us back from all the work that we've done and how much we've evolved as an industry. As a filmmaker, would you ever subscribe to such kind of storytelling?
I am not at all ever for telling somebody what kind of movie they should or should not make.
Sure.
Because then why should somebody else not tell me that, what I can or cannot make? You know what I mean? So I don't want to put my morality on somebody else because I wouldn't want that to happen to me. Eventually the audience will decide what they want to see, what they don't want to see. We can agree with it, we can disagree with it, we can stay away from it. You know what I mean? But that's really where it ends. I mean, art is such a broad canvas. You know, like, who is to say that, I mean, someone paints it with a color that you don't like, so you can start complaining about it. You know what I mean? Who are you in this larger scheme of things? I mean, do your own work. You put out the values, you put out what you want to put out. You know, so if people are going to get something from that, that's what you can do.
I think the audiences also need to understand that they're going to pay to get an experience.
Sure.
So like you're paying money to go on a roller coaster, you're going on a roller coaster. Some people throw up on a roller coaster. Now we're not going to ban that roller coaster for that, right? But the idea is to give you entertainment. That's what schools and colleges and universities are for. To learn values, to get yourself educated. This is a medium of entertainment. Now here a maker has the freedom to say, this is the story I want to tell. You think it's aggressive? Maybe it is. But I don't think it's aggressive.
Sure.
And also, if it is actually that bad, then people will ban it. They won't see it. It'll not make money and nobody will back a film like that. Having said that, just because it's making money is not the reason to kind of go there. Because, you know, when OTT came and said, oh, ispe gali de sakte hain. Chalo yaar, galiyan dalte hain. That's the wrong approach of making anything. But audiences also can't let all the onus be on the makers. Saying that इन्होंने ऐसे दिखाया तो अब मैं ऐसे ही करूँगा.
Absolutely.
तो फिर तो यार गलत बात है ना.
Sorry to almost drop. It's like the power lies in the hand of the person who's going to buy a ticket or not buy a ticket. If a film is not patronized by a large number of people, that kind of film will stop being made.
Absolutely.
Because I mean, nobody here wants to be like, "Arey, let me keep making films that nobody wants to watch." It's never going to happen.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. The power lies with them. They need to decide what kind of movies they'd like to see.
Coming back to Madgaon and the theme that the film is based on, you guys are in the industry for a very long time. You'll have been around. You'll have friends in the industry. In fact, you've grown up with a lot of them, right? Is it sometimes challenging to kind of keep those friendships when you're in the same space?
Not at all, actually. But the thing is that it's amazing given, that everyone knows each other pretty well, to a certain extent. But you hardly meet. You really, really don't meet.
So that sounds like everyone else
बाहर
as
से
well.
लगता होगा कि यार कितना मजा होता होगा तुम लोग meeting every weekend और parties होती होंगी. You don't meet anyone. You meet them, at a function or at an event, or then if you're working together, obviously, then that's for a longer period of time. But there are very few people that you connect with in a way that you kind of stay in touch with.
Yeah.
It's an interesting phenomenon that happens, in a film. You become a family.
Yeah.
You become a commune, and you're traveling for that time. And then when it's done, there's like an unsaid understanding. Chalo, yeah, it was great, fantastic. Now everyone's gone.
Is it a trip, okay, a memorable one, or one that you really wish you could forget with your friends that you could tell us?
Yeah, there is no trip I'd like to forget, to be honest with you. Even if a trip has not been as expected, I still like to remember it because, everything has given me some experience to be able to draw something from.
Right.
I had this one trip where I actually thought for some reason I thought my kidneys are going to fail right now. Because it's just very weird, I will tell you. So we went on this trip, so Soha and I were there, and we had two friends who were joining us from America, and we were supposed to drive from Paris all the way to the Amalfi Coast through Rome and all of those places, and from Genoa we were supposed to pick up this car. And I was like, I've never driven internationally.
Yeah.
It's left side of the road. I don't have a license, and I'm not very comfortable. So these American friends of ours were like, don't worry, we got that. So okay, very good. We reached Genoa. You find out that because of something, there are no automatic cars available. And these guys didn't know how to even operate a stick shift. So they look at me saying that now we're here. Now we got to go. Now so I can't drive on those roads. And I was like, so what do you want me to drive? They're like, how? We don't know how to operate it. So first we tried. I said, you sit there. Okay, clutch. Leave. Okay. It's going. Now what do we do? So now eventually I am there and I'm like, but how will we drive? The network's not working and all that. So we put the GPS on.
Yeah.
It starts in Italian. And now the person who's given us the car is gone. So वो कुछ strike था वहाँ पे.
Yeah.
So we can't figure the language. Now it's speaking in Italian, and Italians drive like us. They're all like, hey, no, whatever. And I'm like, oh my god. And now somehow I'm like, okay, I'll drive this. I'm shivering. I'm driving. Now the Americans are backseat driving. They're like, check your blind spot. I'm like, what's a blind spot? I've not gone to that school. And they're like, this, and suddenly I'm on this freeway and there's like 16 wheelers going and I'm on the wrong side and they're like, this is the fast lane, this is the slow lane. I was like, I don't know what this is. And then finally, Capri or some one place we were saying, in that language only we were following it because we didn't have a GPS.
How did you manage to follow it?
Because वो drawing दिख रही थी ना कि ऐसे जाना है, कहाँ जा रहे हैं वो नहीं पता. तो एक जगह पे चले गए, उसने बोला कैफे आएगा, लेकिन वो सड़क नैरो हो गई, बस्तियां खत्म हो गई, बिल्डिंगें खत्म हो गई, जंगल शुरू हो गए, रास्ता खत्म हो गया. तो ऐसे कौन सा कैफे आएगा भाई? यहाँ पे तो गवर्नमेंट नहीं पहुंची अभी तक सड़क बनाने के लिए. That's when I had this intense pain in my back and I thought my kidneys are going to fail. And I there's a picture of this where I'm literally on the street like this. I'd given up and they were like all standing saying, okay, you know what, we'll figure something out. And then I don't know how we got, and eventually I got tired of these backseat drivers, so I took them all for dinner. I got them drunk. They passed out in the car. And I had a fabulous drive for the next 6 hours because I just drove alone. I said, turn this thing off. I just know, by then my thing had come. I took pictures. No, I took pictures. When we got network, I took pictures on the GPS map and I just put them there. It's just straight road. It's not that difficult. But it's just the first time happened like that.
Wow. I'm laughing now, but I'm sure it must have been very stressful.
I thought my kidneys were going to fail. So yeah, it was very stressful.
You guys are coming out with a fabulous slate this year and the following year. And, every time you'll announce something, I think the audience goes into this kind of frenzy, and everybody wants to know what's going on with your films. When you announce Dawn 3, a franchisee like Dawn 3, and the excitement that comes with it, does it ever put any kind of pressure on you to take it ahead?
I am excited, anxious, also nervous about the film. For reasons that I just want it to be the best version of itself. That's really what it is. He's such a loved character.
Yeah.
He's taking a new form with a new actor coming into play. to play it. So it's kind of like a reboot of the franchise. So it is something, I mean, it's not pressure. I won't say it's pressure. I don't feel pressure, but I do feel like a certain anxiety about getting going. You know what I mean? Also, it's really far away now. We're not starting till Feb of next year.
Right.
So I try my best not to keep thinking so much about it, because there will be a time I won't be able to think about anything but that. You know, so I'm giving myself some distance now from it. And I'm going to start a film in July as an actor, so I want to just focus on that for now.
Nice, exciting. Thank you so much for talking to
thank
me.
you.
Good luck for the film. This was a
Thank
really
you so
interesting
much.
conversation. Thank you, guys.